everybody, welcome back. Live at Drew's House, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you are all doing well out there. We have come to that time of year. We are 10 days away from the rest of the Newburyport high school kids, the students here in Newburyport being emptied out for summer break. Seniors are already out, of course, but another year in the books. Unbelievable. And for that, we wrap up the school year with Principal Andrew Wulf. How are you, sir?
Yeah, we're doing all right.
Good to see you. Thanks for making some time.
Anytime. Thanks for the invite.
I know the end of the year is kind of crazy, right? With there's a lot to just kind of I put a bow on, right? Before you head away for summer. What are some of those things?
Pretty much right now we're getting ready as teachers right now are prepping the students for their final projects and assessments that will happen next week.
Yep.
But then, it's funny because when you say like wrapping a bow on it, actually a lot of the prep work for next year is really now in the works.
Always everything's months ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every part of being involved in the school, it's always like months and months ahead. So, all right, good. So one of those things we've actually done a lot of talking about. I know it's been making a lot of press around here. You guys put a new phone policy in for next year, right?
Correct, yes.
Why don't you tell people the nuts and bolts of that?
Yeah, so, obviously earlier in the year, there was some conversations around the community about potentially doing a full, having us engage in conversation around cell phones, realizing that it's been a national issue and schools have been kind of implementing it in different ways, some states outright banning them.
Yep.
But we've committed to always having dialogue where we have dialogue coaches in the school system. So we ran that with the full community and we kind of landed in a place that I think ensures that all voices were really heard. So we are being more restrictive next year.
Yep.
So students will not be allowed, they'll only be allowed to have access to their phones before school, after school, and during lunch.
Yes.
So pretty much during the instructional time and passing time, students are going to need to have the phones off and in their bags.
So biggest change, I think, probably for you right off the bat is like probably the hallways, right? Because I imagine kids get out of class and they want to catch up on whatever, and that is no longer going to be allowed under this proposal, which still has to be voted on, right?
No, they do not need to vote on.
Oh, they don't?
Correct.
Okay.
We're really just adjusting our practice, and we're no longer, we were using phone holders in the classroom, but one of the things that came up in the conversation was how that may have even promoted use of the cell phones during passing time.
Oh, okay.
Because a student would have to grab the phone, and then the phone is naturally in their hand. So that's kind of what led us off and in the bags.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right, so we're just going to keep those away for a while. The other side of the spectrum, I know part of what you guys heard is there's always two sides of this, was parents saying, well, I would like to be able to get in touch with Joey or Mary, during the day if something were to happen. And what has been the response to parents on that?
Really, it hasn't been a lot of questions, but for the most part, parents are very good about either emailing secretaries or an administrator or calling the school. But then also where students are going to be allowed to access their phones at lunch, if a parent needs to send a text, the student will see it at lunchtime.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I was thinking about this. There must be something kind of refreshing about it because, I remember I went to a concert within the last few years, and the band was like, let's put them away for a little bit. I'm sick of looking at phones in my face all day, and everybody did kind of do it. It was kind of nice, being at a show where just everybody was just kind of taking it in. I know a concert's different than a classroom and a school environment, but it's just kind of nice removing a little bit.
I would agree.
You can get by for a little while.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's become a crutch.
Yeah. And sure, it's going to take getting used to for you guys too, because I know a big thing was you were telling me you want to lead by example. You don't want your phone going off walking around the hallways. It's a big thing for you, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think will be fine because already I'm pretty good trying to always have my phone on silent.
Yeah.
My wife can't stand it because she never gets a hold of me.
Yeah.
But she knows to call my secretary, so it works out well.
I'm terrible. I've had my phone. I've thought it was on silent mode and it's gone off during the show too many times. It's always I'm way too attached to it. I've talked to you about that before. But all right, so there's a new policy. It seemed like the kids I talked to, they roll with it. I don't know. Maybe they're just worried about summer vacation at this point. But,
potentially.
But it seemed like they'll be fine with it too. So hopefully not too many issues with that. How about the school year as a whole here? As you look back, you guys had some great in the classroom and some great athletic achievements. You must be very proud as a principal.
Oh yeah, it was a great year academically, athletically. I know our girls lacrosse, they play tomorrow in the Final Four.
Yeah.
So a lot of exciting things. So I'll definitely be there for that.
Yep.
So
That is
yeah.
that's an exciting way to like kind of end a school year, isn't it? With the sports teams making runs, and you guys are lucky and talented and all that stuff. And usually it's a combination of both. You get a little luck and a lot of talent and a lot of good coaching and all that. But it seems like you always have great
Yeah,
teams.
it's been pretty. The sports seasons have definitely been long for us, which is exciting.
Yeah.
You know, I think this spring we had 4 teams that went pretty deep into the playoffs. Only one is left. But then also our track program, which doesn't necessarily have the tournaments, but the number of runners that are constantly invited to the state relays and those meets is pretty impressive.
This senior class, what was there something defining about this senior class, unlike other ones in the past, or was something that you liked, or maybe something that hit you around prom season and all that? You're like, you know what I liked about this group?
Yeah, no, they were just they were a diverse group of students in terms of personality.
Yeah.
But I think when really push came to shove to define their class, they were a class that just continued to chip away.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of if there was a setback, it didn't really throw them off. They really just kind of stepped up and were leaders in a lot of different places. From our captains, like a great example, we've always had student leaders for our fan section, because a lot of schools have had issues with their fan sections.
Sure.
But this year, the student leads just took it to a whole new level. Just in terms, I mean, it was so inclusive, making sure that regardless of what groups you're in, that there was a spot for everybody in terms of participating and cheering on our sports teams, making sure that it was well advertised, but then also at the same time, making sure that students understood what the expectations were for demonstrating sportsmanship.
Nice.
And actually, I think there was an Instagram piece. Here I am talking about social media, but I guess there's this national thing that rates student fan sections, and so for Massachusetts, we were the #1 student fan section.
No kidding.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah.
And also not surprising. You guys, I mean, some of those environments when, it's a big night and a big game and everybody comes out, it is about as vocal a section as you get.
Yeah, for such a, we're 800 students, but to have a section that size, it's great.
It is crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's a cool community feel to everything. So that's just one example. And then just the rebuilding of our arts programs.
Yep.
The students that were seniors this year just did a great job of recruiting kids and getting students excited to be a part of the arts and the theater program.
So that needed a rebuild?
Yes. COVID kind of really set us back a little bit, but it's definitely coming back pretty strong now, which is awesome.
Good. All right. Yeah, it's funny. Once you just get a few people moving things in the right direction, it's those things can build off each other, right? And they suddenly have 3 people becomes 13, 23.
It's awesome.
New faces. We have some changes coming. Some people ending terms here and some people starting new. I know the gym teacher and hockey coach, Paul Yamin, is going to be leaving the gym teacher role, stay on as hockey, right?
Correct,
I get that right?
yes.
Cool. So that's a big change in the gym, I know. Kids have been lifting and all that through him for many years, right?
But what's cool is that the teachers are all going to be having that training that he is pretty well versed in. So in terms of the weight training.
Oh, so it's like the Paul Yamin guide to weight training.
Pretty much. Well, he had a certification. I forget what the name of the program is.
Okay.
But I think that's, it's funny, when you talk about the success of the athletics program, there's a lot to be said about what happens in that fitness center.
Yeah.
And then just, obviously totally appreciative. The Newburyport Education Foundation, I think it was 5 years ago, they were the ones who funded that whole project.
Yeah, okay.
So to give us a state-of-the-art facility there.
I did not realize that. So
have you seen the workout room?
Yes, I have. It's beautiful. I looked at it and I was thinking back to the one that I had back in the day. I was not in Newburyport. I'm not from here, but I was like, geez, this is spoiled a little bit.
Yeah, it's a nice setup.
It is. Well, you're right. It has led to a lot of great athletic teams, and it's funny too because I had kids in here one day, and it seemed like they really made it like maybe they're more forced to than anything, but it seemed like it wasn't forced. It seemed like they wanted to be in there working out daily, and they made it a part of their routine, which is like, I mean, I was looking at a bunch of seniors that came in here, and I was like, this is a very healthy, driven group here. They're all having their waters and Powerades and hydrating. Then we got to hydrate. We got to go hit the gym, and I was like, damn, you guys are taking care of yourself. Good.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Yeah, because even with the whole weight training routine that he has, they talk about nutrition, they talk about hydration.
It's like real life stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Has that been an effort at Newburyport, you think, to? Because because like I think a lot of criticism about I'm 38. I remember there was a lot of criticism when my generation came out. It was a bad recession. Job market was hard, which is these kids are coming into whatever. We won't get into that, but I remember thinking I was like I wish we had in high school and I wish we did like a job interview class. Like it would have been nice to like just do stuff that like you actually do in the real world, And it seems like Newburyport there was steps to do a lot of stuff like that. You guys feel like you got a lot of kids that are walking into the either college but also the real world in a better place than maybe 10 years ago?
Oh, definitely. So we have we call it our portrait of a graduate, which is really our vision for what we want students to be ready to do upon their graduation.
Gotcha.
And so one of them, talking about the fitness center, one of the strands is physically and socially, emotionally well, so really helping them to understand what that actually means, but then actually implementing that plan and those strategies.
Yeah.
And then embedded also within the portrait of a graduate, just all these life skills.
Is that a Newburyport term, or is that like a national thing, the portrait of a graduate?
Portrait of a graduate actually comes from the accreditation process.
Okay.
So it's been a big push really across the whole country.
Gotcha.
And so, but schools kind of take it their own way. Sometimes they just have it as their portrait and not like a guide.
Yep.
But our teachers just really took to it, and now that is really driving everything that we do. It's been, and really what we're trying to leverage it for is helping students realize what they're doing in the classroom and how it's relevant to their actual lives.
Gotcha.
So that's really been a big priority for us in our school improvement efforts, is getting students to just increase their engagement in the classroom, but to do that is getting them to understand how this content or what we're doing in the moment is relevant to them beyond just the classroom.
Makes sense. Do you know, maybe not an exact percentage, but does is the majority of Newburyport seniors, are they all moving on to college?
A majority of them,
Yep.
correct. Yeah, it's in the 90%.
Okay, so that really hasn't changed in recent years
Not too much. Even though we are trying to now, we have a partnership with the Peterson School, so we've really been trying to expand our offerings.
Okay.
So that was a big thing that happened this year. So we had our first cohort of students that they're halfway through getting their electrical license.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the Peterson program that has campuses in Haverhill, but then also Woburn.
Yep.
So we've had students doing electrical, plumbing, and HVAC.
All right.
So which is great. So for students who don't want to necessarily, they kind of learn
Yeah.
through their first few years of high school, you know what? I think that I want to go into the trades, but they didn't get into Whittier or something like that.
Sure.
So, and we're able to accommodate them now.
It's a funny thing about. I mean, I don't know if you remember high school Andrew Wulf, but I mean, I don't know if you knew exactly what you wanted to do in high school. I know for me, it took a little bit longer, at least later college years, to figure out. I kind of like this microphone thing. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, people find that stuff out at different times, right? So it's good to
totally.
just flood people with information and see if they can find it, right?
And that's kind of now the high school programming is trying to. So we have an advisory program.
Yep.
But really, which is about giving students space and time to kind of explore what their interests are, but recognizing what their strengths are, areas for growth. Just realizing that now even though you don't necessarily need to know what direction you want to go in, you do need to kind of have an idea, because part of the dilemma is college. Like when you and I were in high school and then going to college was not even close to how expensive it is now.
Right. Yeah.
So it's such a big investment, and so gap years have also become a bigger avenue now for students as well.
I've heard that, yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I was wondering. It's so expensive, people don't love taking out massive loans these days, which I'm still paying those off myself, So that's why I was wondering if the rate of people going to college is the same, and it still is the thing to do.
Yeah, for the most part, it is. Yeah.
It is interesting. Again, Principal Andrew Wulf here, Newburyport High School. You have a new athletic director coming in, I know.
Correct.
Who I think starts
July 1.
July 1, coming right up here, right? Tell me a little bit about her and that whole process there and finding the right person.
Yeah, so Anna DeVito, she's coming from Fontbonne Academy, that's over in Milton, and she's been athletic director there for 4 years, and she was hungry for a bigger school and a greater challenge, and she went through the whole process, and people loved her.
Yeah.
She just had a great energy about her.
Yeah.
And I think really a big thing was, you can just tell she's going to be responsive to the needs that people have.
Yes.
So in trying to be supportive for the coaches, but also recognizing that a big success of our athletics program is because of the people that we have coaching
Yep.
the students, and obviously making sure that she's being as supportive as possible for them, but also recognizing that sometimes parents have a lot of input or whatever else,
Yeah.
but being able to kind of make sure that they are heard and acknowledged, but while still allowing the coaches and the athletes to do their thing.
Yeah, good energy and it seems like a good temperament. I feel like you probably have to have a good temperament for that
Yes.
job because, like, I've had other athletic directors explain to me about how you're always a kind of a coach as an athletic director, but you're just now coaching the coaches. Like, that's your team. Like, you got to make sure you
Right.
delegate correctly with them, which I thought was an interesting way of looking at it, and probably exactly how it feels to be in that role. So you're excited about that. What is that process like when you're making these, big spots, big hires? Is it stressful on you guys? Is it exciting to try to find a new
Yeah,
fresh
it's
face?
definitely it's a little bit stressful because you never
Yeah.
know which way it's going to go. But for this one, we realized because of how important athletics is to the Newburyport community and how many. So it's over 2/3 of our students participate in athletics. It
Yeah.
may even be closer to 70%. So there's a lot of involvement.
Yeah.
And so we just made sure we did an inclusive process. So we had the initial screening team that decided on who was going to be interviewed, and then that consisted of parents, coaches, some teachers, and then obviously the administrative team, some
Yeah.
members of the administrative team, and they decided on people to. I think it was 4 people they passed on. So there were 4 high quality candidates.
Gotcha.
And then we had a huge community interview where the 4 candidates rotated amongst groups. There was a parent group. There was probably about maybe 40, 50 parents who came for that.
Oh, wow.
We had about 20 of our coaches come. They were another rotation. We had students. So they were another session.
I don't think I even realized it was that big. Okay,
Oh yeah, it was
man.
almost like a principal search, basically.
Yeah.
I kind of actually modeled it after how my process went to get
Yeah.
the job here.
Okay.
And so that way we just kind of could collect all that feedback and then really make the decision on the best person moving forward,
Awesome.
based
Well,
off of the current needs.
All right, and you're very happy with that hire there with Anna. The
Mm-hmm.
any other outgoings or that we should know about? Teachers that deserve a good goodbye or anything like that here?
Yeah,
at
Paul's
WJOP?
our biggest one
That's the
right
big
now.
one, yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, very good. And he is still doing the hockey for. Did he tell you how long he's going to do the hockey for? Or does he?
Oh, I think he's hopeful to go as long as he can.
He'd probably tell me it's year to year, Drew. We'll see.
Oh yeah, he's had such great success.
Yeah.
So, and he's so passionate.
Yeah.
And it's hard to envision our hocky program without him.
I
as
was
the
just going
head
to say
coach.
that. Yeah, he's definitely a staple, nonetheless. How about the as far as this year as a whole? If you have you're probably looking ahead, you got a new freshman class now that's set to come in. Is there something about this next kind of wave of kids that's going to be either a challenge or just something different for you guys? Just that age difference, the freshman incoming class versus the seniors outgoing.
Yeah, I mean, everything that I've heard from Principal Marcos, it sounds like the 8th graders are a great class.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're excited to welcome them in.
Yeah.
And I think every year, every class always kind of has its own little challenges, but their own unique personalities that
Sure.
as we learn to kind of figure out how to best instruct them, it all typically works out. But I do want to say, I think with what the seniors who just graduated, what they modeled,
Yeah.
especially during their senior week, because I don't know if you're familiar with Newburyport's traditions, but senior week is a very involved week
Yep.
and a lot of public-facing events, but it's all driven by the senior class.
Yeah.
Just with their speeches, and then kind of the whole thing ends the Friday before graduation, where they do this event called the Senior Sing-Out.
Yes, I'm familiar.
But where they basically are talking to the whole school,
Yeah.
and kind of modeling how they're hopeful that the community continues to be at the high school for the students.
Yeah, I mean, it is so big to not have like a, and not that you get too many of these, but like if you have like a dud of a senior class who's not great at carrying that baton for whatever reason, like when you do have it going like this, you have great senior classes, great senior leaders, all this stuff, whether it be sports in the classroom, it just kind of build off each other, right?
Correct.
The juniors see how the seniors held it, and then just the next group batch of juniors sees that, and you just kind of learn all the way up. This is how it's supposed to be
Right,
done.
they're paying it forward.
Paying
pretty
it
much.
forward, yeah.
Yep.
Well said. Very good. So that's cool. What was the toughest thing personally for you in this school year? Was there anything that caught you off guard in the middle or whatever?
I wouldn't say anything that caught me off guard. I think the biggest things were obviously getting through the athletic director search, but then also the cell phone process.
Yeah.
Because I know during the summer that was kind of getting a little bit more heated,
Yeah.
just in terms of different perspectives on how the schools should move forward.
Whenever you're telling people what they can and can't do with the cell phones, it's you're going to have opinions, right?
Correct. But that's why we just kind of stayed true to our process with dialogue, which is what we had used like 5 or 6 years ago when there was kind of the contentious conversation about class rank.
Sure.
And then what to do with Val and Sal, and it worked out very well.
Awesome. All right. Well, very good. The any incoming programs or teachers that we should know about? Any obviously besides the athletic director, but anything new for next year planned?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is now our Pathways program. So we're trying to expand our offerings for students, like I was saying earlier. Like this year we had the Peterson School program. Next year we'll be moving forward with advanced manufacturing, as well as the health and medical pathway as well.
Awesome.
So all tied to different careers that are kind of in demand areas for Massachusetts. And then we have another very exciting piece that also the NEF has helped us with is we have a building redesign plan to kind of rethink our spaces, especially down in the basement.
Oh.
But
I've always thought there's not too much move in that building.
Oh yeah, well actually, the whole idea is to really open it up so you have more collaborative spaces, but it really allows us to expand our technological programming, but then also our arts programming as well.
Okay.
And part of that, the first move was going to be the video lab. So the video production program, which is what Sarah was talking about earlier. We hired a new teacher this past school year, so last summer, who's awesome. He had worked in the field for 5 years. And he's getting a state-of-the-art facility that'll now be on the first floor, and that'll be opening up in the fall.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys do have some actual real building.
Oh, it's very cool.
On.
And actually, around him, we're planning on applying for Chapter 74 funding. So the idea is to actually create a radio broadcasting pathway at the high school.
Very cool. Very good. Well, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Definitely. We have a great resource right here in Newburyport.
There you go. And Sarah Hayden, the boss, of course, who you mentioned, is very, very involved with the schools too. She does a good job monitoring all you guys. Is there any summer plans for you that did you get away? Do you get to get away, or is it all? I don't know. How does it work for a high school principal?
I mean, it's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have most of our hiring done early in the summer.
Can you take like the 4th of July?
Yeah, usually I'll take about a week and a half, 2
All
weeks off in the summer.
And then you're right back at it, looking at September?
Oh, pretty much. Oh, yeah. So right now, just meeting all my teams are available, but then we also have mapped out, there's teams that will be working throughout the summer all around the goals of our school improvement plan, because all that planning has to happen in the summertime. So basically, once the school year begins, you're going.
Yeah.
And then you're making adjustments as you need to based off of whatever data or results you're getting.
But you're flying the plane. Once that plane's flying, you're right.
That's right. We're going. And that's why the summer is really key.
Yeah.
All right, what did we learn from this year? What adjustments are we making for next year? But then also making sure that the plan is pretty solid, because then early on in the fall, we're also presenting that to the school committee as well.
I wonder if that's a misconception about the high school principal job, that, they get summers off like the kids. I bet you get that a lot, right?
Oh, it's a machine.
I understand. Let's end with this one, because this is a good one. What is the, I always think there's probably a young principal about to step into your job for the first time somewhere. What is the best career advice you could give to somebody about to step into your shoes at another school somewhere?
Yeah, I think it's just embrace the energy. I know when I had my first year here, it was just the energy of the students, the energy of the teachers, and the energy of the families. I think the biggest thing is making sure that you are communicating as much as you can out to the parents, students, and teachers, but then also recognize that you are the one who models kind of the culture and climate that you want to have.
Yeah.
Right? And it's all about how embracing you are to people, how welcoming you are. And I think that's really a key.
All right. Very good. I like that one. Everything else? Get any questions for me? Everything?
Yeah, I think we're good.
I know you're a busy man, Andrew Wulf. I appreciate you taking some time here to end the school year. 10 days away from saying goodbye to the kids for the year. So awesome, man. Good to see you.
All right.
Thanks
great seeing you too, Drew.
Andrew Wulf, the principal at Newburyport High School, doing a great job. job over there. Another great job done by Maeve Power, our producer today. Thank you, Maeve. Sarah Hayden, the boss. Ryan Rothberg, our small but mighty team here in Newburyport. Thank you, guys. We love you. We'll see you next time live at Drew's house. Joppa Afternoon Drive. Peace.